Archangel Michael says, finally, you opened this special message sent by God. My child, if you... The moon trembled behind torn clouds, and the stars blinked out one by one as a forgotten wound opened in the sky. In that moment between the last breath of midnight and the first sigh of morning, the veil split and a soundless thunder shook your spirit awake. You didn't see it with your eyes, but your soul felt the shift as something ancient and sacred reached out to touch you. You were not meant to sleep through this hour, though sleep tried to hold you like a spell. The silence was false, carved hollow by centuries of waiting, and now the hour has arrived where the heavens no longer stay silent. You, my child, were chosen to awaken during the unraveling, when truth no longer hides and the divine hand presses against your life. A wind not born of this world brushed against your skin in recent days, subtle, like a breath laced with fire. You've heard strange echoes in your own thoughts, whispers not born of madness but of memory, and it wasn't imagination. That was the first sign. The breach. A presence stood near while you wept and couldn't name the sorrow, while your chest carried a weight that came from nowhere you could trace. It wasn't depression, it was displacement. Your spirit had brushed against the heavenly ledger, and your name had begun to glow. God says the time has come to uncover what you were never supposed to forget. There are fingerprints on your soul that do not belong to you, and they have shaped your path in ways that heaven now reverses. The clocks are wrong. The calendar lies. Divine time is now upon you. A figure stood in the rift when the veil tore. Cloaked in wings not of feathers but of burning frost, it turned to look directly into your timeline. That was no illusion, it was the sentinel sent to watch the unfolding. One that cannot be bribed, cannot be swayed, and holds a sword etched with your spiritual coordinates. Something sacred was buried inside you before your birth, and it was locked until this hour. That sacred thing is now calling out, drawing fire and light toward you. And with it comes the heat of divine confrontation. You may have felt the walls tighten in your life lately, like invisible barriers pressing closer around your peace. This is not punishment, it is pressure, the kind that cracks shells to release what was hidden. You are not cursed. You are being positioned for revelation. The sky did not shudder for nothing. You have ancestors who prayed for justice and never saw it come. But now their cries are wrapped around your ankles like chains of fire, rising from the grave and igniting your footsteps. Your feet burn because the ground itself has been told to remember you. Archangel Michael says your spirit was kept hidden to preserve it from early destruction. They tried to find you, mark you, disarm you before you grew strong. But now, you are no longer hidden. You have been summoned. You felt it as a strange ache in the bones, like pressure before a storm that never came, until now. That was the tremor of heaven's cord opening, the divine scroll unrolling, the assignment descending like thunder wrapped in silk. You are not imagining the shift. The world around you is responding to the divine unveiling. This revelation has a cost. You will feel people pull back, turn cold, speak confusion into your clarity. But this is how divine exposure works. When heaven lifts the veil, it does not just reveal light, it reveals shadows trying to pass as guardians. Your discernment will sharpen. Faces you once trusted may now feel blurred or distorted. This is not a curse, this is the effect of truth rising through your bloodstream. Type Amen to receive this divine alignment. Every force against you just lost its hiding place. The voice that called you in the silence will not stop. It grows louder each day, drawing you into the fire that cleanses and seals. Do not resist it. Let it pull you forward. Let it burn away what you never needed. There is a storm circling your name in the spiritual realm. It is not here to destroy you, it is here to dismantle the scaffolding built around you by those who wanted to shape your path for their gain. That scaffolding is crumbling now. God says your name has been stirred like incense in the heavenly chambers. The scent of your obedience has risen, and the angels have drawn swords. What resisted you yesterday will now be disarmed before your eyes. You have felt time behave strangely, memories rushing back that should have faded. This is the retrieval of your timeline. The path that was altered is now being returned to its original course, and everything stolen in the delay will come suddenly, violently, in divine restoration. There are dreams you thought you lost. They are not gone. They were only sleeping beneath the ashes of distraction and betrayal. The fire coming now will burn away the dust and expose what still breathes. Archangel Michael says this: the wound you carried for years was not weakness, it was a divine indicator, a marked spot for celestial intervention. That place in you is where the breakthrough will pour through. The weather in your soul is about to shift. No more gray skies that never rain. No more thunder with no storm. The deluge is beginning. Stand in it. The veil was torn at midnight, and nothing will remain hidden. Even the lies wrapped in kindness will be cast into light. What was whispered in secret will be shouted by heaven's own voice. Your dreams will become louder. Do not ignore them. They carry codes, instructions, warnings. And you will understand them in ways no teacher can explain, because the Spirit will burn the meanings into your knowing. You were not born into this life to simply survive. You were created as a divine disruption to the plans of darkness. And now that you've reached this point, nothing can push you back into slumber. This was the moment the heavens waited for, the veil torn not just above you, but within you. And from now on, you will see what others cannot. The betrayal didn't arrive with screams or breaking glass. It came like a soft whisper wrapped in false comfort, settling into your life without alarm, while your heart opened its door in trust. The wound it left wasn't visible, but it changed the shape of your inner world forever. You were watched by those who smiled and spoke peace while secretly crafting ruin behind their silence. They buried their intentions beneath shared laughter, hoping the blade they held would feel like a backrest instead of a weapon. But heaven heard their silence louder than any word. There are fingerprints all over your past that don't belong to love. There were hands you welcomed that carried poison beneath the skin. But the time has come to uncover what they thought would never surface. You were gaslit by souls who envied your light, who saw your gentleness as a weakness, and your loyalty as an opening. Their betrayal wasn't just personal, it was spiritual, designed to hijack your divine momentum. But Archangel Michael says every hidden scheme is being traced, documented, and judged. This isn't just about betrayal. It's about an ancient pattern trying to repeat itself through familiar faces. They are not your enemy in the flesh, but they were willing vessels for a spirit that despises your destiny. That spirit has now been exposed. God says you were not mistaken when you sensed the shift, when warmth turned cold and their tone began to cut without reason. That wasn't confusion, that was your discernment awakening. And now that you've seen through it, there is no going back. Their silence was not peace, it was plotting. While you were praying, they were planning. But the plans formed in secret are being ripped open by the light sent directly from heaven's hand. You were chosen to walk a path that others were too afraid to embrace. You carried burdens they mocked, but what they didn't know was that those burdens contained keys to realms they would never enter. And now, those realms are unlocking. Type Amen to open what was sealed by betrayal. The chains they wrapped in affection are falling at your feet. You were born into a family line where betrayal has roots. Generations before you bowed under the weight of silence, swallowing pain so thick it turned into spiritual tumors. But your arrival disturbed that system. Your spirit was a disruption they didn't anticipate. There was a moment you remember, maybe you've pushed it down, when someone you trusted looked at you, and something behind their eyes changed. That wasn't your imagination. That was the precise second the spirit of sabotage recognized your rising and sent them into assignment against you. This isn't about hate. It's about interference. Every person who betrayed you wasn't always conscious of the depth of their alignment with darkness. But ignorance does not make the wound less sharp, nor the assignment less dangerous. You have been delayed by what you tolerated. But the delay is ending. Heaven is issuing a reversal so swift, even time will seem to bend to accommodate your restoration. They took pieces of your innocence and wore them like trophies, pretending their gain was born of talent instead of theft. But the energy they harvested is returning to you, multiplied by the fire it endured. What they gained unrighteously is now cursed unless returned. The whispering corners of rooms you never entered will fall silent. Their words, spoken like smoke, will return to them like ash in the mouth. They will taste what they served. And you will walk away clothed in divine fire. Archangel Michael says you are no longer to explain yourself to those who chose misinterpretation as a weapon. The courtroom of heaven has ruled. The sentence has fallen, and your name is no longer on trial. You've wept for them, prayed for them, forgiven them in the silence of your own soul. That grace was noted. That mercy was written in fire. And now, it becomes your shield as divine justice unfolds. You're going to feel a release soon, strange at first, like a weight that suddenly vanishes. That's the breaking of the soul contracts formed by betrayal. The silent agreements you never made, but lived under. They're now null and void. They built structures to keep you small, whispering false warnings wrapped in love. Don't go too far, don't expect too much, don't forget where you came from. But those were spells of containment. And now your soul is shattering them with every breath. You will notice people growing uncomfortable around you without reason. It's because the light within you is becoming too bright to conceal. And what was once hidden feels unsafe in the presence of revelation. Type Amen to step into the light where no betrayal can breathe. Every secret against you has just lost its power. The spiritual contracts of sabotage are being incinerated. The places they touched in your life, the relationships, the opportunities, the moments, will now erupt with restoration. And you will not have to beg for understanding. Heaven itself will bear witness. God says the delay was allowed not for your destruction, but for your calibration. What they stole had to be traced so that heaven could retrieve every last ember of your stolen inheritance. What felt like loss was actually a setup for justice. The betrayals marked you, but they did not kill you. They awakened something buried deep, a divine edge that no human cruelty could dull. The wounds they caused will not bleed forever. In fact, some of them are already closing. What remains is a scar that glows with wisdom, and no spirit of deception can replicate that light. You are now entering a phase where the people who betrayed you will begin to unravel, not by your hand, but by the consequences they planted themselves. What they sowed returns. Not because you cursed them, but because heaven's law cannot be mocked. Archangel Michael says this battle was watched with holy silence until the appointed hour. That hour the sword has been drawn. Not against you, but for you. The silence is breaking. The secrets are flooding out. The winds have turned. What once bowed your spirit will now become the evidence of your victory. You were carved in silence, but now, the silence ends. And with it, every hidden curse collapses. You began to notice the shift long before the storm took shape. People you thought were pillars started to flicker like faulty lights, their presence feeling less like support and more like surveillance. The energy around you thickened, and your spirit began to brace for something it couldn't yet name. This wasn't just tension, it was alignment. Forces, both seen and unseen, began to gather, called by an ancient jealousy that slithered through bloodlines, friendships, even lovers. They weren't drawn to your weakness, they were summoned by your rising. You felt eyes that never blinked, smiles that never reached the soul, conversations that twisted the moment you walked away. The room shifted when you entered, not because of arrogance, but because your presence disrupted spirits clinging to false comfort. They hated your arrival because your light was an eviction notice. Archangel Michael says these shadows have been gathering for longer than you know. Some have followed your lineage for generations, hiding behind inherited trauma, generational silence, and patterns mistaken for personality. But now, the gathering has reached its climax. What looks like people turning cold is really darkness losing its hiding place. They don't hate you, they fear what you activate. Your mere presence stirs memories in their spirit of the destiny they abandoned. God says your awakening sent out a vibration into the spiritual realm, and every dark force assigned to suppress your bloodline felt it. They are not just reacting to you, they are reacting to the end of their reign. And they are panicking. You felt the emotional sabotage, the confusion, the delays, the sudden loss of motivation. But that wasn't just mood. That was coordinated spiritual warfare, cloaked in everyday language. Type Amen if you felt the pressure in your chest at night, the weight with no name. That was the shadow trying to convince you to stay small, to settle, to sleep. But heaven did not choose you for silence. You were not sent to blend in with broken systems. Your soul was sent to detonate every lie disguised as tradition. The people you feel drifting away are not being removed by coincidence. Their spirits are no longer compatible with the assignment now waking up inside you. Don't grieve the detachment, it's protection. They were never the foundation, only furniture. And furniture must move when it's time to rebuild. You were never meant to decorate the dungeon they were comfortable in. Some of these shadows come wearing holy garments. They speak spiritual language but carry bitter fruit. You've seen their eyes, how they shift when truth is spoken. That's not just disagreement, it's the spirit behind them being exposed. You've outgrown every place built to contain you. Their walls are cracking, not because you're reckless, but because your expansion is ordained. And what is divine cannot be domesticated. Archangel Michael says you will see odd behaviors now, sudden rages, passive aggression, people falling silent after your victories. These are symptoms of exposure. They cannot pretend anymore. Don't fight to explain yourself. Your spirit is doing the speaking now. Their reaction is not your responsibility. The shadows know they are losing. That's why the attacks feel more personal. But this isn't personal, it's prophetic. The gossip, the slander, the attempts to isolate you, these are last-ditch efforts from spirits that know their eviction date has been posted. They're grasping at threads because their fabric is unraveling. Type Amen if you felt it, a sense of something breaking beneath the surface. That's not paranoia. That's prophecy becoming audible. You have outlasted what was meant to break you. The test was never about destruction. It was about capacity. And you passed in silence. The shadows that whispered behind your back will now scream in panic as your elevation becomes public. They operated in private because they couldn't stand your light. Now they'll be forced to watch it unfold. God says what they did in secret is now being flipped into your divine announcement. They thought they were burying you, but they were preparing your soil. This is the reaping season of exposure. Every hidden intention will now manifest visibly. Masks will slip. And you will stand, not in revenge, but in revelation. Your success will not look like theirs. It will come with divine weight, quiet, strong, undeniable. And they will not be able to explain it. They used to mock your silence. Soon they will fear it. Because the silence was never weakness, it was divine strategy. Archangel Michael says you are now in the eye of the spiritual storm. But do not be afraid. The winds are violent because the shift is irreversible. You're not imagining the coldness. You're not misreading the discomfort. Your spirit is just stepping into the raw presence of divine fire. You are changing frequencies, and shadows cannot survive where you're headed. This isn't ego, it's evolution. They will try to reconnect, but not because they've changed. It's because they missed the version of you that didn't know your power. But that version is gone. Type Amen if you felt it, the thinning of false attachments. That's your confirmation. Heaven is cutting cords with surgical precision. You are being pulled into divine alignment, away from manipulation, away from cycles. The people still stuck in patterns will resist you. But their resistance is proof of your progress. You were sent to be the interruption. The one who says no more. The one who flips the system. Your name is being cleared in rooms where they dragged it. The lies are collapsing. And the truth is roaring back like thunder. God says the gathering of shadows is over. The judgment has begun. Not against people, but against the spirit they served. You will walk through rooms once built to diminish you, and those rooms will bow. You are no longer who you were, and they know it. This is the shift. This is the turning. This is the reckoning. The moment of reckoning arrives without warning but never without purpose. It crashes through the veils of time like a tidal wave, sweeping away all remnants of deception and fear. You stand at the edge of transformation, where judgment is not punishment but a sacred unveiling. Your spirit has been summoned to testify before the tribunal of heaven. Every wound you bore, every silent cry, every hidden betrayal is recorded in divine script. The courtroom is ethereal, bathed in light that burns away illusion and reveals the truth beneath flesh and bone. Archangel Michael says the scales are tipping in your favor, though the battle may feel relentless. The forces that conspired to imprison your soul are being unmasked, their judgments returning to them tenfold. This reckoning is ordained by the Creator and unstoppable. You feel the weight of unseen eyes, the pressure of destiny tightening like a noose around deceit. This is the moment where all hidden actions surface, and the truth you feared to face becomes your sword and shield. You are both the accused and the anointed. God says your endurance was never in vain. The pain was a refining fire, burning away everything that was not meant to remain. What you see as loss is heaven's way of preparing you for sovereignty beyond human comprehension. The spiritual ledger balances now. Those who sought to diminish you will find their schemes reversed, their shadows fractured. Divine justice does not hesitate. It moves like lightning, swift and irrevocable. You stand amidst the ruins of their lies, the ashes of their plot sparkling with new life. This is not destruction, it is resurrection. Every broken promise, every stolen opportunity is being restored in ways that defy earthly logic. Type Amen if you feel the power of divine restoration igniting within. The chains that once bound you are melting in the presence of holy fire. The reckoning is not just for your enemies. It is for your soul's liberation. The wounds inflicted were meant to cage you, but they have become the keys to your freedom. Each scar is a testament to the battles won in silence. Archangel Michael says you are about to witness miracles disguised as justice. The courtroom of heaven has pronounced verdicts that will echo through generations. Your family line will no longer carry the curse of betrayal. The betrayers will be confronted by their own reflections, the spirits they ignored, the hearts they shattered. The truth they denied will become their undoing. Their fall is scripted in the heavens, undeniable and absolute. You will feel a shift inside, as though the foundations of your soul realign. This is the moment when your spirit breaks free from the shadows that haunted it. The chains forged in deceit shatter, and you rise. God says you are not alone in this reckoning. The angels surround you, their swords drawn and shields raised. You are being armored in divine light, prepared for the next stage of your journey. The reckoning will bring clarity where there was confusion, peace where there was turmoil. What seemed like chaos was the necessary storm before calm. Your path is being cleared by forces beyond human sight. You will no longer be burdened by the weight of others' darkness. Their attempts to drag you down have been met with holy resistance. The judgment of heaven pierces through every falsehood, restoring your true identity. Type Amen if you accept the divine justice unfolding. This is your moment of sacred breakthrough. The transformation will not be subtle. It will shake the foundations of your relationships, your environment, and your very self. But it will be necessary. You cannot carry what was never meant to be yours. Archangel Michael says this reckoning is a call to rise, to reclaim, to reign. You have been chosen to carry the light through the shadows, to bring healing where there was pain. The divine scales are balanced. The verdict is written. Your soul is free. You will emerge from this reckoning stronger, wiser, and more radiant than before. The betrayers will fade into irrelevance, and your destiny will unfold with unstoppable force. God says the fire you walked through was not to consume you but to illuminate your path. Walk it boldly, with the armor of truth and the sword of justice. Your reckoning has arrived. Stand tall. The heavens proclaim your victory.